Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Engine Talk. And I believe that this is episode number 41. And as I sit here, turn the camera on, and think about what I'm going to say about these two things in this video, I have no idea what I'm going to title this episode of Engine Talk other than maybe freaking unbelievable. That may be what the title is. So a couple of house cleaning things first. So it's summertime. I don't have central air conditioning in this apartment, and it's not hot out. But so you may always be hearing background noises like a highway, because this apartment building is right next to a highway, and or a lot of bird sounds. Well, the room that I'm recording from, I always have the window open for some ventilation, and there's a tree right outside. So I'm always getting blessed with all these beautiful sounds of nature, and then of course the periodic jake braking of semi trucks going down the road and other things. Anyway, so I hope you guys aren't getting tired of Engine Talk episodes. I was at my partner's place yesterday. I shot 4 engine run videos. I've only got 1 of them posted so far, so there'll be 3 more run videos coming up here in the next few days. But some things here happened, as you can see. Things have happened here that just make me really want to talk about these things. And I've got some stories to tell with at least this one, and maybe not so much this one. So let's move this guy off to the side here and talk about this. So this very much it's a brat engine. It looks very much like it was World Engines. That's the World Engines kind of look of their boxes. Now, brat engines are actually what would be, they were manufactured in Taiwan, made in Taiwan, so it's kind of a Chinese. Taiwan was a Republic of China engine, but brat engines are actually Bluebird engines, as I've come to find out over the years. And I've had several brat engines before. This box doesn't say anything on here as what the displacement is, but this is a brat engine, basically a Bluebird engine. And from what I'm looking at on a couple of engine reviews, I couldn't find an engine review of this exact engine, which is the Brat 28. However, I found an engine review, 2 of them actually, an engine review of the 46F and the, both of them were for the 46F, but one was from Clarence Lee and one was from Stu Richmond. Stu Richmond, I don't know if he was Model Airplane News or what, but RC Modeler never put dates on the lower portions of their pages so you could tell what date that was. But based on looking at what this was, I was like, this is a pretty old review and a pretty old engine, and Stu Richmond's review pretty much just backed that all up. And it was his review came out in 1989. So, with all that said, this is a Brat 28 engine. This is the instructions that came with it. There was some kind of interesting stuff in here. I don't know if it was in this or the next thing here. Operating instructions for Brat engines. Yes, so there is some very interesting information here. So it goes here, for the beginner, there's a section here on for the beginner, initial running, and all Brat engines, all RC engines. And then it talks about glow fuels. But on this all RC engines, and maybe I can take a picture of this and post it or do something with it. If you've ever watched my video on how to set up a carb, and it's a huge video, I mean, it's got a lot of views. It is a very popular, very, very popular engine video, or one of my videos. And I was reading this, I was like, holy crap, this is exactly what I show and talk about in that video. About how to set up a carb, And it says here, let's see here. Oh, okay, yeah, so here it goes. So, all Brat engines are now fitted with a series of throttles which are easy to adjust, reliable in use, and capable of very low tick over combine. Okay, so they're talking about basically, when I show how I set up an engine, they're talking about doing the same thing, using a piece of fuel tubing and blowing through the carburetor. And that's how you set up the adjustment. So what I think I'll do is I think I'll just put this on my printer and I'll scan it and I'll just put it up here on the video so you can read it, and maybe I'll put a little red box around it instead of me reading it and taking more time. But anyway, I thought it was very interesting that I don't know if that's where I came up with that years ago or if I just did that intuitively or what. But anyway, this little paragraph here talks exactly about how I set up a carb in that video and how I've been setting up carbs for many, 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 many years. So let's get straight to the engine. So it came with this nice little popped out thing here. So this is a used engine. And as I said, it's a 28. It says right here 28. So basically 28.5 and 28 are the same. I don't know if it's probably just bored out slightly. But this is, it's pretty used. I mean, it's not pretty used. It looks used, and it's got really super massive compression. Holy crap. Ugh. So it's an AAC design, not ABC. And comes with this exhaust. And that's all it comes with, just those two pieces of paper and this. And I've had, like I said, I think I've had a 28 or maybe a 25 before for sure on the channel. Nice little engine. It's going to be a subject of a restoration, I guess you could call it. I'm going to clean it up, replace bearings in it, and get it running. And I expect that to be a very good running engine. I've always had good luck with the Brat engines that I've had in the past. But that was kind of the story with this engine, was that the instructions showed some rather interesting information about how I set up carbs and, you know, what I already mentioned. So the next engine here, as you can see, this is a large box. This is a large engine box, and this is this is really, really interesting, I believe, because this came about. How did this come about? The 61 FSR compromised engine that was given to me, the helicopter engine, FSR-H, and I was looking for some parts or looking for something, and I came across this on eBay. Now, this is actually, does it have? Yeah, this is actually a 60 FSR, the original 60 size FSR engine, which actually this engine dates back, according to the OS Engines timeline, of 1979. Now, there may have been one update. I think there was at least one update to the 60 FSR before it became the 61 FSR, and there's a review article online here that talks about the different, talks very specifically about those iterations, and I thought it was interesting. So anyway, I see this ad on eBay, and it says new OS 60 FSR engine, and I'm like, wow, that's a really neat looking engine. And it was listed at $150. And any of you that go through eBay a lot, you'll know that if you just go click on something and you kind of spend maybe a minute or two looking at it and then you click off of it, sometimes a day or three, maybe later, you'll get an offer from the seller. And I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's automatically generated or if it's, or what. All I know is this was listed at $150. I think I even put it on my watch list just for shits and grins. Well, like 2 days later, I get this offer that had my jaw drop. It was a $150 engine, and the offer says, I think I even maybe took a screen capture of it to prove it, says the seller has offered you a discount of $125. And now this engine is being offered to you for like $39 and change. And I was like, what? I had to sit there and look at that like 3 times and close it and reopen it and close it and reopen it just to make sure it was real. So the seller sent me an offer of $39. No, it was $25. It was $25. The total price with shipping was $39. Yeah, $125 off the list price, and he's offering this to you for $25. And then, of course, with shipping and whatever, it came out to be a total of $39. I'm like, this can't be real, but for $40, I'm going to take a chance. So I took a chance, and guess what? This is what I got. So, first thing is, I open this up, and I see one of the most unbelievable, and I've seen this before, not often, one of the most unbelievable little marketing literature things from OS that they ever made. And they didn't make them for long into the 80s, I don't think, or the 90s or whatever. I don't know. All I know is this was cool as hell. Look at this. First page, the Wonkel. And then it goes on to show all of the engines in their lineup at that time in history. And this will date it. I mean, I can go back and look at the latest engine in here and verify with the OS Engine's timeline exactly how old this engine is. But look at this. I mean, all of these things. Radios, a Cougar 5 Mark II radio system. I mean, just unbelievable. Servos. Let's just, for the heck of it, let's look at what the last engine they showed was. So one of the last engines was a Max 10 FSR Marine. Let's look at 21 FSR. I didn't even, oh, those are all Marine engines. Let's go to aircraft. That's boat stuff. Okay, so here's a Max 60R SR rear intake SR Schnurl, 65. Max 25. Here's 25 FSR. Okay, so that's pretty reasonable. That's the control line. So I mean, this little book is unbelievable, and of course your standard cautions and warnings. Here we go. Here's our instructions for this 60 FSR engine. Complete instructions. Very unmolested. I mean, this is incredibly unmolested. Here is the OS 7B carburetor instructions. Separate instruction sheets just for the carburetor. Very good condition, excellent condition, I would say, considering the age. And then here is the engine. And I was like, my jaw hit the floor because I'm thinking, well, A, it's a scam, or B, it's not really as advertised. But this package looks to me like it's maybe been opened and then restapled once. But it's got a choke, this little brass thing in here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that or not. Looks like a choke for the carburetor. High-speed needle, 3 wrenches or more. And then the screws for the exhaust. And it looks like maybe even an extra screw for the carb. So here's our exhaust, which I know is not all that thrilling to begin with, but 744, the 744 exhaust, brand new. I mean, this is, I can smell test, I can do my sniff test, I can guarantee you that this has never had a single drop of fuel in it at all. Now, there are some very interesting things about this engine, and I don't have my other 61 FSR out here to compare it with. I'm gonna have to move that. I think that blocks too much light. But here's the engine. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can get a better look at this thing. It even comes with that little cardboard dealie that protects the ratcheting thing. 7B carb. Probably a very reliable carb. I know one of the upgrades they made to this engine before going to the 61 was they changed the carb. They made it into a different carb, but the one thing that I thought was just unbelievable is that the size of this little crankshaft. And when I say little crankshaft, I do mean the threaded portion of the crankshaft is really tiny. I mean, this is like for a 40 size engine. So this was probably one of the things they're like, well, maybe we need to upgrade this. So I pulled all this stuff off. So here's the crankshaft itself. And then why they decided to go to such a tiny little threaded portion is beyond me. I mean, why weight? I mean, clearly OS that didn't last long because, you know, a couple of one crash and that probably just shears right off. But anyway, the biggest story about this engine was that it's completely pristine, brand new. Never seen a drop of fuel. I can guarantee that. It's a ringed engine. And that it was listed for $150. And then the seller sent me an offer to sell it to me for $25. And it's like, how in the hell can anybody in their right mind, even if I wasn't looking to buy an engine, period. I wasn't looking to buy this engine. It was a curiosity to me for me to put it on my watch list. How can anybody in their right mind turn down a $25 new in box OS 60F, any vintage OS engine from the 70s, possibly early 80s? How could anybody possibly turn down a $25 score like this? Not this person, that's for sure. I can tell you that, and I didn't, obviously. So this is one that is going to stick with me for a long time because it's cool. I like it a lot, and that's our story today about this particular engine.